In Romans chapter 12, verse 2, we read that we're not to be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of our minds, that we may prove what is that good and acceptable, perfect will of God. So how are we to fight against being conformed to this world? Well, we're told in this passage that through the renewing of our minds. But how do we renew our minds? You know, we may think from a secular perspective of renewing our minds, of taking a vacation or taking some time off, relaxing. But from really a spiritual perspective, it's quite the opposite. It's really the harder you work, the more renewed your mind is. When you look at the Greek meaning of renewing, it's associated with three terms. Those three terms up there: repetition, intensity, and reversal. And in Deuteronomy chapter 6, we have a good example of repetitive teaching. A passage we're all familiar with when it says, when are we to teach? When we sit at our houses, when we walk by the way, when we lie down, when we rise up. And so if we're to renew our minds, we have to be repetitive in our approach to spiritual things, no matter what that is, whether it's Bible study, whether it's prayer, whether it's helping others, whether it's providing transportation, and the list goes on. The second word up there is intensity. In Hebrews chapter 2, verse 1, the passage says, therefore we must give the more earnest heed to the things we have heard. And why? In that passage it tells us why, and that is lest we drift away. Earnest there is defined as a sincere or intense conviction. So we have to have this intense conviction to heed the things that we have heard so that we don't drift away. In Proverbs chapter 4, this is a passage where Solomon is talking about his father David and what David taught him. He says, when I was my father's son, he taught me to get wisdom, to get understanding. And there's this intensity in this passage to get these things. It's important to get these things as soon as possible, because why? They're there to protect you in life. And then the last word associated with this meaning of renewing is reversal. Sometimes we just need to reprogram our mind, to alter our way of thinking, to reverse our way of thinking. And we're really good at this with our children. When we see them after school, we want to hear what they have to say, what they've learned, who they've talked to try to deprogram them if we need to help to make sure they're looking through a spiritual lens at the things that they've encountered at school. But as adults, we're also required to ask ourselves those same questions and look in the mirror and alter course if we need to. Again, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. So if we can help you tonight with your efforts to renew your mind, or if we can help you with any spiritual need that you may have, we're going to give you that opportunity now as we stand and sing.